and everyone. Today I'm going to discuss the lecture of compiler design. The code is BCS 602. Earlier it was KCS 502 and running in 5th semester. But right now it is in 6th semester. And today I'm going to discuss the basic parsing technique, in which I'm just discussing about what is top-down parsing, and only one parser that is belongs to this category is basically predictive parser, or you can say that a recursive descent parser without backtracking. And then I'm going to discuss the second category, which is not much useful because it allows backtracking and the recursive process is not involved in that. And then finally the grammar which is accepted by this predictive parser, that is basically called LL1 parser. So if you're talking about top-down parsing, as this particular word suggests, you will see that basically start with the start symbol and go up to the language accepted by that grammar. Means that is the set of basically the input alphabets for which we are going to design this parse tree. Because if you are aware about the function of parser, so basically parser is what do, it takes grammar as an input and generate a parse tree. If the particular language or grammar is suitable for the top-down parser or the particular parser, if it is not the particular language of that grammar, then it is generated the error. So that is the function of parser. So if we're talking about this top-down parser, it starts with the start symbol, then finally approach in between number of derivations, and by applying these derivations, we have to reach, we are reaching on the particular input alphabet, which is the output of this particular grammar, and we are just identify the accepted language of that grammar, and then we proceed for the designing the parse tree. So if you're talking about this top-down parser, here I have directly taking this L1 parsing table, means I'm just discussing the predictive parser, but I want to give some initial inputs that is required to fetch this all the things. The first important thing, when we are going to perform this top-down parser, we must check that the grammar doesn't have any left recursion or backtracking. These are the basic problems when we are going to perform this top-down parser. So backtracking in left recursion, you have aware about that if we have any particular production in the form of this, then what is the problem with the system? Because if you are going to perform this grammar and derive any language of this grammar, and we use manual process because we are involved. So we are just seeing that when there is a repetitive string is there, we have to skip that. But through system, by system, it is not possible. You have to program the system. So if such kind of production is there, then might be possible that the particular program will call this A by A alpha. Then it is A alpha. That would be A alpha alpha. Then again it is A alpha alpha alpha. And might be the particular process is going into the infinite loop. And that is the basic problem with top-down parser. So it is necessary that you have to check the problem of left recursion for the given grammar for which you are going to apply this top-down parser or predictive parser. Then second thing, backtracking. Backtracking means if any particular production in the form of A produces alpha, beta or alpha, gamma, you will see that when you are going to implement the stack, implement the particular grammar for using a stack, at that moment when you are getting this alpha at input symbol, okay, then you have these two productions for that. then for whom you are using to replace the particular part. It is a particular confusing question. Either you have to move with alpha beta or alpha gamma, but at that time the system is not able to decide which is the particular specific production through which we can move forward and we will get that particular string. So that is the problem of problem with top-down parser, that is backtracking. So what you have to do, you have to backtrack. If suppose you are moving through alpha beta, suppose there is a grammar given and some particular production which is derived by this, two productions are given. You are moving with this first production, might be you will reach at end state where you are not getting that particular string. Then what you have to do? You have to backtrack. That's why it is called backtracking problem. So these two problems must resolve. These two problems must resolve before applying the grammar for top-down parser. So this is the basics for when we are using this top-down parser. Now, if you are going to designing this LL1 parsing table, so outcome is what the LL1 grammar, that is basically called for predictive parser. The LL1 grammar is basically that grammar through which you can apply this predictive parser and you will get the exact string or correct string, and then you will draw the parse tree for that. So when we are going to start this process, the first most thing, we have to use these two functions for constructing LL1 parsing table. If you are talking about any parsing procedure, the basic outcome of parsing is parsing table. Basically, that parsing table is used to just verify that the given particular language belongs with the grammar or not. Means it is correct language of that grammar or not. So what you have to do in overall process of parsing, we have to design this parsing table. And in top-down parser, the parsing table is different. If you're discussing the bottom-up parser, then parsing table is different. Their format is different, their procedure is different. But the purpose of this parsing table is only to validate that particular string through for the given grammar, that this particular string belongs to that grammar or not. The major thing is that. And if it belongs to that grammar, you will just draw the parse tree for that given string. So that is the purpose of parser, and outcome of is the parse tree. So there are two functions involved to construct the parsing table for predictive parser. We can say that LL1 parser also, because in top-down parser we are using this LL term. This L stands for left to right scan, and this L stand for leftmost derivation of a single length alphabet. So this one denote that at a time you are just processed one length string, one length particular alphabet, not more than that. So two functions are used in the construction of LL1 parsing table. The first one is first of alpha, and it has 2 or 3 rules to derive the first. So first of alpha is a set of the terminal symbol which occur as first symbols in a string derived from alpha, where alpha is any string of grammar symbol. So the set of first is terminals, only the terminals. Even follow is also having the terminals, because when we are going to implement and validate the language for the given grammar, what we have to do, we are using the particular alphabets, input alphabets for the further processing. So first and follow both generate the input alphabets. So there is a rules for first of alpha. There is a rules for follow of alpha. And why follow is needed? Follow is needed because if we have any production is A produces epsilon. So when you are going to draw the parsing table, at that time, if this kind of production is there, and you will see that right hand side is nothing, then how to find that input alphabet where we have to find out that block where this value is placed. So for finding that input alphabet, we are using this follow. Okay, so this follow is the set of the terminal which occur immediately after the follow. The non-terminal A in the string derives from the starting symbol. So The rules are involved to finding this first and follow. So computing first for any string x. So this is the rule. For example, capital X. So firstly, we have to aware about the different notations used for representing the grammar symbols, the particular input alphabet, variables, means these are three, four things which belongs to the grammar. So if you are using X, capital X, Y, Z, that is basically used for grammar symbol, means either it is input alphabet or might be it is variable. If you are using alpha, beta, gamma, then it belongs to V union T closure. You can take any length of string for that. So we are using these kind of notations for generating the rules for this first and follow. Then we are using small a, b, c, plus, minus. These are for input terminals, and capital A, B, C, D for variables. So if you are aware about these things, then we are easy to just understand these rules. So if you are talking about if capital S is a terminal symbol, capital X means either the particular variable is derived some terminal or a particular terminal is there. So capital X is used for the grammar symbol. We can refer this capital X for non-terminal as well as terminal. So the first rule means if any terminal is there, that is first of that terminal. Okay, so every terminal is first of itself. That is the first rule, means every terminal you can use for the place of first. The second rule is if X is a non-terminal and there is a production, X produces epsilon, means epsilon is directly derived by that variable. Then you have to just add this epsilon into the first set of this capital X or this non-terminal. If epsilon is not directly derived, means that is very important. Sometimes right hand side, one particular variable is derived, first variable is derived epsilon, but second variable is not derived epsilon. At that time, no. So you will just map this thing. The right hand side must derive the epsilon. If right hand side is derived epsilon, then only you can add that epsilon into the set of capital X, first set of capital X. The third rule is very important, and this rule is basically used when right hand side of the non-terminal derived epsilon. So whenever something which have the epsilon production, at that time you will use this third rule. The third rule says that if capital X is a non-terminal symbol and X derives to y1, y2, yn, these all are non-terminals which is located in right hand side of this production, and is a production rule. If a terminal capital A in a first of y, suppose first of y1 is derived small a, and epsilon is in all first of yj, suppose yi and yj, basically where j equals to 1 to I minus 1. Simply, if y1 is derived some particular non-terminal, some particular terminal, then that terminal it must be added with the first of x. But if this y1 is derived epsilon, but obvious, you will see, you will check the terminal of capital Y2, means next non-terminal, because when epsilon is there, you will write this Y2, Y3 up to Yn, means this is the particular representation if you are putting the value of Y1 is epsilon. So you have to check the first of Y2 also. Okay, whatever non-epsilon symbol it includes, you will add that non-epsilon symbol in the first of X. Suppose if this Y2 is also derived the epsilon, then definitely you have to check the next particular non-terminal's non-epsilon symbol and add in the first of X. If Y3 is also derived epsilon, until the time Yn, all particular variables are derived epsilon, then only you can add that epsilon into the first of X. So that is very important rule. If you are aware about that rule, then whatever production having the epsilon, you have to be alert at that time, because this rule is applied to finding the first of that grammar. Otherwise, the rule of first is very easy. But here you have to fundamentally understand, because rule 2 and rule 3 are same. If all the right hand side will derive epsilon, definitely you have to add that epsilon in the first of x. Otherwise, you cannot add. If number of variables are there and any of the variable will not derive the epsilon, the particular process will stop and the first process is stick onto that particular variable. You cannot move further side. So that is very important rule. We will discuss with examples also. So that is third rule. So this is the rule for first. Now this is example given. So that grammar is basically, the original grammar is this: E plus T by T. T produces T star F by F. F produces bracket of E by ID. That is basically the grammar. When we start to use this grammar for top-down parsing, firstly we have to check the problems associated with this top-down parsing. You will see that here left recursion is there. So firstly you have to convert this grammar by convert this grammar as suitable for top-down parser by removing this left recursion. And you will see that if you are using this, so that is A, alpha and beta. Similarly A, alpha by beta. So if you are converting it, then you are getting this particular production. E produces T dash, E dash produces plus T dash by epsilon, T produces Ft dash, T dash produces star Ft dash by epsilon, and F produces bracket of E by ID. Suppose you are not converting this grammar and not removing this left recursion, definitely you will find that this grammar is not suitable for LL1 parser. So that is thumb rule. Whenever you are going to apply this top-down parser, firstly you have to check the grammar for left recursion and backtracking. And if it is there, then you have to eliminate both the things. Then whatever grammar you are generating after removing this, that grammar is suitable for top-down parser. Now if you are going to first applying or going to find the first of each non-terminal, so here the first of F, first of T, first of T dash, E dash, E. You will write that. Then E produces T, E dash. That is basically A produces alpha. So the first of alpha is the first of A. So if you find that E produces T dash, so capital T is the first terminal, then we have to go for the T produces Ft dash. Capital F is there. Then F produces left parenthesis and ID. So both you have to add in the set of F, left parenthesis comma ID, and simultaneously it is added into the first set of capital T and first set of capital E also. So the set of F, T and E will be same because it is a derivative string. Now you have to talk about E dash. So E dash produces plus T E dash. If A produces alpha, first of alpha, then first of alpha is plus, and here the rule A produces epsilon is there, then you can add epsilon in the first of alpha, first of X. Then definitely you will get that the first set of capital E dash is basically plus and epsilon. Likewise, you can derive the first set of T dash. It will contain star and epsilon. So after applying all the first rule, we are getting this first set for this grammar. Now we are going to derive the follow. Okay. So if compute follow for any non-terminal, the first most important thing, because you know that dollar is used in the grammar. Why? Because when you are going to implement or going to traverse any string, definitely by using stack, when you are going to traverse, you have to have some particular situation where you can say that you have processed all the particular things and you will reach the concluding portion. So for that purpose, what we are using dollar. Dollar is basically a right end marker or bottom end marker, means that is the basically represent the end part where we are getting the dollar, and it is the indication of whatever process we are going to use here. We have already completed it, and now we can conclude that either it is grammar is accepted or not. Whatever conclusion we draw by applying this complete process, basically right hand marker is used for that. So dollar is very important thing. So dollar is in follow of start symbol. So you have to add dollar is in follow of start symbol. Then rule 2 and rule 3 says if A produces alpha, B, beta is a production where alpha and beta is means that is not fixed length string, but capital B is fixed because capital B is a non-terminal. Whenever we are referring any production, we find that in right hand side what kind of things is there. Okay. So first alpha, B, beta is a production rule. Everything is in first of beta. If this kind of thing is there, whatever first beta is contained, the first of beta is contained, that would be go into the capital B. To the second rule, follow B except epsilon. So whatever first of beta, non-epsilon symbols are there, that would be just added in follow of capital B. Similarly, if the production A produces alpha B and or A produces alpha B beta, where beta derives epsilon, means you will see that the both production is same, because if you are putting the value of beta is epsilon, definitely both are same. But we have two kinds of production, because if beta is there, then it is not necessary that beta derives not other things. Might be it will have other things also. So these two kinds of production, at that time, whatever is in follow of A, that is directly assigned to follow of B. So that is basically your follow rule. In next lecture, I am going to discuss this follow part and then translating this, derive this table, parsing table, and then applying top-down parser to the particular parsing. Thank you very much.